Hey, how's it going? I'm going to read you some cards, and I'm going to first ask you to observe some signs. Particularly the part about opinion commentary. That is important. Okay, come on now. Please behave. Okay, there. Okay, so I pulled a card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. Get a good look at that. And it is number 46. 4 and 6 is 10. 10 is 1 and 0. We're just going to eliminate the 0 and hold on to the number 1, which is one of your power numbers. Like if you do the numerology on your birth date, it will tell you, you will come up with a sum that represents your life path. The number that it amounts to will be your life path. And 1 is a life path that you could get if you added up your birth date. And here's some homework. Look up that life path numerology business and do your own birth date and see what you come up with. I did mine and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that? I better get a move on. So, yes, Root Girl. Just visually, this card has a lot going on. So, if you've watched for a while, you may be familiar with my follicle focuses. And this hair on this tree person, because it is a tree person. Shoot. I need more space. Oh my god, that's heavy. Get over. Oh, and I don't need those here. So I'll just elbow them right onto the floor. So her hair. It looks like lightning strikes. And it's interesting when I thought that. That was about the third thing I thought about this the tree person hair, okay? I mean, obviously it's roots. It's obvious to me anyway. But it could also just be branches too, because there's plenty of trees that grow branches that look like that. And it is at the top of the tree person, on top of their head. But the lightning strike business, it's like reverse image lightning strikes. And then also fire. This person's hair is on fire. And that is an interesting phrase. And it will become interesting, I hope, to you as well as I go forward. Because I did take a peep at the book. Because there's a lot to see here. I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, to be honest. So, yeah, the imagery. But you can see that there is a face on this person. I believe that is the face word direction. Oh, it's here. So, yeah. There's a face, his shoulders, back. And look at that face. Pensive, crusty. But I think the bark appearance is, I don't know, to go with the tree imagery, but also it's like a hardening to the outside forces. And I was going to say it takes a toll on you, and from the expression on that tree person's face, I mean, pensive, yes, but also like they've seen some stuff, you know, like the years have worn on them. Each ring is a memory, but and maybe not all tough memories, but I'm just like sort of hearing it from the tree's point of view, and the tree has different difficulties with aging than a human person does, but you know, something like that is subjective. We just have to imagine what the tree might be feeling, and I don't know if it's vice versa. There's a lot going on with trees and wisdom, and it's more they kind kind of more going on a deeper level than a human does, so the perspective is definitely going to be different. But they are living beings with consciousness, so that is why I feel like that expression is so meaningful. But Root Girl is the card, and it is the disowned self. So what I also saw on here was a little person, which is the Root Girl. She's got sort of a crown of golden or illuminated like leaves. You can see her little face, and you can see her eyes are like the girl has had some substances or something, because they're lit. They're like spirals where the pupils and that should be. And I will say that it's like embodying the trait that she is, like a lot, like over, like extra. Like no child should have spirals in their eyes, because like they're small. That indicates like some kind of foreign substance, and that's a tiny. Anyway, kids should not have drugs. Anyway, so she's like kind of messed up in a way, which I'll get to what that way is. Okay, I got like a lot of reflections happening. But you can see her little body too. And what I noticed first, even before the face and the little fiery, leafy, actually kind of looks like feathers a little bit too, crown that she's got on, I noticed this right here, and I thought, boy, that sure looks like a buckle. But if you look closer, it actually is like a kind of a crescent moon, and there's like a starry background. And what I think that is her legs, like little kid leggings. And it seems like maybe it's a whole onesie, because I see some kind of spots up here. But what I noticed is there seemed to be like a little book on her little lap. So I don't know if the book is blowing her mind, but she is the disowned self. So I didn't realize that when I first looked at the picture. I didn't even really make out that there was people there. Mainly I saw the roots first. And there's a lot going on in the roots even at the top of this person's head. And roots and Root Girl, roots have a meaning for me that go like back in my life pretty far. And it's not really anything like what's on the card. It's about some friends of mine that had a band called Twisted Roots. And there were like a lot of dreadlocks happening in there, and there's people with hair born to dreadlocks, and there's people, well, I mean, anybody can get a dreadlock, but I'm just saying there was like a black dude in the band with dreadlocks, and then the other people were not black and had dreadlocks. But that is like a whole, I can't even like unravel. I don't want to unravel it. That whole meaning and portion of my life here now, but it is significant. The people are, and oh my, and now I'm getting chills because I love those people. Anyway, now that I got that all said, I need to just step out of view, or step, you know what I mean. I need to just get out of view for a second. Had to take care of something. Oh. Nothing. So now I will read from the book, the guidebook of the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. For Root Girl, the disowned self, hidden beauty, the need for acceptance and love. Root Girl sits shivering, unclean, and naked at the base of the tree of the self. She is unloved, unwanted, and shunned for her deformities. She has no home, but is safe burrowing underground to dwell near the deepest roots of this sacred tree. Who is she to you? Okay, first of all, I didn't see, thankfully, a naked, shivering child burrowing in the muck. That sounds miserable. This is more metaphoric, and I can deal with that much more easily. I mean, so is the other imagery that's talked about here, but it's just terrible and makes me cold and want to put on a warmer suit of clothing. This child, though, represents that, obviously, because they are together, the guidebook and the card and the artist and all of that. It just came out different in the artist's point of view, I guess. So, who is she to you? Could this urchin be be the one part of you that reintegrated can lead you to wholeness and true purpose? Well, why is the child separated? It's like we get too big for our britches, like literally, and in our hurry to like become adults and age and experience more and more and more, and you have a tendency, as if you're in a speeding automobile, to miss details as you're passing by. Your eye can only grab so much when it's rushing past something. And so this child, I think, just sort of got unthinkingly pushed aside in our hurry to, become adult and do more mature things, maybe perhaps more mature than we're ready for. And we think we've gotten rid of our childish selves sometimes, and we think we're like, I don't know, all that or something, but really, memories, really, where we are is not where we're supposed to be quite yet, because we're rushing ahead, we're missing important activities and events that are supposed to happen, that are healthy for us to experience. And I want to say, when we don't do things by the rules, then there are consequences. And I don't mean like somebody has to be like punished or anything, but the things that you deliberately decide to dismiss are things that you don't know what you're pushing out of the way. It might be something that you need, and it often is. Like, we don't want to experience unpleasant things and things that make us feel bad or angry, or I don't know, sometimes we get caught up in the anger and think it's all righteous and good, but even when it's that, we're not supposed to stay in it forever. Like, anger is just not a good place to be. So the consequences that could come later is like, because you didn't pay attention to this, you weren't aware that this could affect that. For example, very vague example, I hope you follow. It's better, and I learned this from my Arcturian friends because they say it all the time, don't be in such a hurry to rush these experiences. You got all the time in the world, in eternity, really, because whole nother big deep subject that I'm not going into, but time is not what we earthlings think it is. It's only this way here. So is that cryptic for you enough? Woo, blowing all my notes around. So yeah, that I feel like is kind of what this girl represents. And I don't know, like the eye spirals kind of, I'm just stuck on, because for one thing, I feel like, stop it, like, pay attention to this child, this part of ourself, this disowned self, this inner child that we think we're too big for, we're too grown for, or whatever, I don't know, whatever we're thinking, because everybody's different. So, yeah, the child that's neglected is stuff that we have just chosen not to look at or deal with. within ourselves, and that's like a psychic abscess. It's like a psychic abscess. Jeez, girl, get it together. Okay. Okay, I read that already. I'll read it again. Could this urchin be the one part of you that reintegrated can lead you to wholeness and true purpose? This is a part of you, the embodiment of a deeply flawed perception of your failures, manifesting as guilt and shame. That's interesting. When I start to fail, you know what happens to me? I get mad, but it doesn't help anything. I get mad at myself, and then I start getting mad at like anyone that's like, "Come on, do it!" Like, like your boss or something. Yeah, it's not good. Gotta work on that. Gotta work on that child. She's got a problem. When you project envy onto others or any emotions or instinct that you've learned to repress or deem unnatural, or you just don't have time for it at the time, so you just shove it out of the way, shove it under, it's this homeless child self crying for attention, acceptance, and love. You want to lash out, ding, ignore it, push it aside, all the while refusing, oh great, to acknowledge this ugly quality as belonging to you. Oh man, that one, whew, that one sounded so real. You want to lash out, ignore it, push it aside, all the while refusing to acknowledge this ugly quality as belonging to you. But you'll surely ascribe it to someone else in a hot second, won't you? Come on. I'm gonna just say it. If you're here in America where I am and you're paying attention to the political situation at all, if you're not looking at those people making judgments, then you're a saint. I don't know how you're not getting sucked into it and having thinks about people, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can certainly observe qualities, but don't join in the projection is my suggestion. You know, like, I'm not saying that would be an easy task. I struggle with it myself. My mind leaps to comment. So trying to train that beast. But yeah, the projection is the ugly quality that we see in others that we don't want to acknowledge in ourselves. But it's real easy to tear someone else up, isn't it? But the thing is, when we're doing that, we're doing it to ourselves, because concept, we're all one. How does that connect? Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be all sci-fi. It's as simple as don't do shit to people that you don't want people to do to you, like, or don't do stuff to people that you wouldn't want them to do to your kid. It's that kind of thing, except you should be feeling it more about yourself, and that keeps you honest, you know? Like, what are you doing to somebody else's little kid that is completely uncool, and what is wrong with you, you monster? Why are you doing stuff that upsets other people, particularly little kids who, we're adults are supposed to be the role models. And moving on to the American political system, they got a lot to say about rules for other people, but stuff doesn't apply to you. Like, this, oh my God, the Trump era has been so enlightening. But yeah, but not really, because it was all right there annoying us all in the same way. He just like made us see like another side, another twist to it, and I don't know. I'm just going to say that we often, particularly when we have problems with other people or are blaming other people, we're saying things about ourselves, we're telling on ourselves, we're making admissions about what we got wrong with ourselves. So, and it may not be clear right away. Like, okay, here's an easy one. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, she's out there, she's saying stuff. Some people agree with her. Some people find what she's saying offensive. Some people find her offensive. I have to look at her the same way I do as Trump. Like, this person, Trump, I'm like, this is a child, obviously, still, that just did not get what he needed, because so many of the ways that he behaves, like never wanting to admit to being wrong or apologizing, yet a lot of times what he's saying is very revealing about him. And it's like he doesn't realize he's doing it. And that is a very childlike quality among many that he has. So he's very destructive. He ended up in a position to where he could be that destructive by so many means, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, there's plenty to be angry with the guy about, I guess, but it's kind of hard for me to be too angry with him, because it's like a child got a hold of the fire alarm in the building or something, or a child, accidentally set the building on fire, or even if they did it on purpose. It's the fact that it's a child doing it. It puts everything in a whole other perspective for me, and there's not much adult about the guy that I attach to him. And so I feel very much the same about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Both of them are they have to be very loud. They have to be like the center of attention, and they got a gotcha, and neither of them are very good at it. Trump will come out and say some stuff that it just doesn't feel like it came out of him directly, like somebody else dreamed, like speeches. I feel like someone else writes his material. I feel like she writes her own material, and she needs to have an editor, because someone could stop her and say, gazpacho is a soup, and not what you're trying to say. Like, doesn't she have a team? But it's like a child run wild, and they're like, don't wait. I don't want to wait for revisions. I need to say it now. And it's like, yeah, but it's not about your need. What you need to be thinking about is the needs of the people that elected you to, I don't know. That's getting into my opinion. But I feel like she has a lot of the same qualities. Very loud, pay attention to me. I don't know who hurt her. There's a lot of history that we can look at about Trump, but what little I know of her, it doesn't really compute, except for the screaming and yelling, and what she screams and yells about, and how angry she gets is all a clue to, like, something ain't right with that girl. And I'm not saying she's like mental or something, but I'm saying that, like everyone else, something in her background has made her the way that she is today, and that's true of all of us, but not all of us can be as destructive as her or Trump. And by the way, is it just me, or does she and other people in the government, doesn't it seem like they sound exactly like Trump? I feel like there's a clear and present reason for that. He's in their ear. They are his tools. They are his operators of chaos, and just basically putting a stick in the spokes of, operations in the Capitol. And I don't feel like that's like just coming from him. It seems way too Machiavellian, like too detailed, way too clever. All of the, like, as Seth put it on late night, Seth Meyers, his late night show, the title of which is escaping me, but he said something about throwing gravel on the ground to like just impede the progress. He was talking about the I think Taliban in Afghanistan. They've got their roving patrolmen on rollerblades, and he said all you would need to stop them is throw a handful of gravel on the ground. And that's what they do, I feel like, is Trump's agents of chaos. Is they're out there putting sticks in spokes, making bikes flip over suddenly. It's if all of the ways that you can go down hard on wheels, I've experienced them and I reference them often, and I'm just saying it'll stop you suddenly, and it's just gonna, like a train wreck, or like a multi-vehicle wreck, is just like bam, 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 bam. Nothing has a chance to be prepared for this disruption, and it just causes damage, and it causes people not meaning to damage anybody to inadvertently damage each other. I mean, it's just chaos with those two. And it's directed, and from my perspective, neither of them have it together to plot the things that they're putting out there. So that, I'm sure, has to deal with other people with problem children or disowned selves, because getting way off track. But that's why we all are here. Like I've said before, we're here to like help everyone go through this, even though everyone kind of assembled this. It's, I think, more than a lot of us designers realized that what we set in motion was going to be as powerful and destructive as it is. But thanks everybody for your service, including me. Y'all thank me too, because I'm here in the middle of it with everyone. But we come here, we have these scenarios, we live through them, and by doing that, if we have karma from other lifetimes, or I'll say like an assignment that we didn't finish in our previous life, because I believe in reincarnation. If you're not getting that drift yet, we are reborn to come back and both deal with our leftover karma, loose ends, and also help with the situation that's like in active motion right now that we're living. So I got so far away from this, but let me see if I can pick up where I left off. Okay. So I left off on the acknowledging the ugly quality as belonging to you. The ugly quality that we can so easily pick out and point out on other people and then dissect to bits. Do you ever think about how we can do that so well? Here's a hint. It's because it's something we're well familiar with, because it's a part of us that we're seeing. We're pinpointing like a laser and going, they're this and that and the other thing, and they do this and that. And it's like, well, how do you know so much about it? Nothing. You know so much about it because it's a part of you. We're awesome. But if you would only look into the root girl's eyes and see the beauty and the unmet need, is that must be the spirals in those eyes. Your unmet need. I don't want people looking at my unmet need. That's vulnerable. Get back in here. You would realize, but if you would only look into the root girl's eyes and see the beauty and the unmet need, you realize that this part of you asks for your compassion and understanding. So, we are our harshest critics. So, not giving ourselves the love and understanding that, my God, do we have that for ourselves? I mean, if we do, what? I'm just going to say, what is wrong with you, me? Why are you holding out on yourself? You got goodies and you're holding back? Stop it. Share. So, your unmet need. You would realize that this part of you asks for your compassion and understanding. So when we're looking, or I'll take all the blame for it. When I'm looking at Green or Trump or any of the anti-squad, because they spit out a lot of meanness and ugliness, and it's like harsh, and it does make me rear back. And I mean, I can laugh at it, but at the same time, I can like feel the hurt that the person has, that they would be so nasty. Like, that's what I feel like it's coming from. So, this part of you was born when you were wounded and were conditioned to believe you're not whole, that your expression of self is somehow too much or too little. You may have even inherited this creature from your ancestors. Thanks. Well, I mean, in a past life sense, our ancestors are kind of ourselves. However, it was this child self came to be curled up in the roots of your sacred tree self. It's time to welcome her into your heart. When you do, everything you've been reaching for becomes illuminated, and your path lights up with renewed purpose. When you come to love Root Girl and claim her as your own, accepting her and your humanity, she is transformed, just as you are. Then all manner of magic begins to arrive in abundant form. Look for the beauty. So I pulled 2 more cards, and while I'm getting those out, I just want to say that I actually pulled these cards that I'm reading now to be read yesterday, and I don't know what happened to yesterday. I remember sitting here, I remember doing stuff, I remember that I didn't do a bunch of things that I normally do. Haven't been feeling well. Like my lymph glands, oh, they're a little bit better today. I don't look like I have the mumps, but past couple of days they were really swollen, and I was just feeling funny. Like I couldn't I thought I had a cold at first because I was really like nose running 3 days ago when I woke up, and now it's just back to the regular allergy to my cat congestion, I guess, and the dust and the black mold here. I mean, I assume that's all contributing to my constant congestion, because it didn't used to be this bad when I was younger. I'm sure I was always allergic to cats, but I don't know. Actually, that's not true, because I didn't start having the black eyes until I lived here with the black mold. So I don't know if it's age. I don't know what it is. I just anyway, so I knew I felt funny, then my stomach went weird, and it's like I'm not eating anything that I don't normally eat, and nothing is spoiled, so my stomach got weird, like sick stomach. I don't want to go into detail, but I think you understand what sick stomach is. And chills, lots of chills. I didn't know if I should be concerned or not, because there's a lot of reasons to get a chill, particularly if you're communicating with immaterial sources of energy. So anyway, these cards, I usually, when a day passes and I haven't read the cards that I've pulled, I just put them back and pull new ones. And I thought of doing that so many times, but it was like something just kept saying, no, definitely read these cards. So 2 days later, now I'm reading these cards, and then I'll read some for today later, or that's the plan. So anyway, I pulled 2 more from, 2 more came out when I was shuffling from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and they are Wolf and Wolf and Whale. I'm trying not to lose my page in the book here at the same time as I'm holding these up. So, I have love for the actual living creatures here, the wolf and the whale. The wolf I just feel for so much because I know that, well, they're an endangered species and they get blamed for so much and they get made the villain for so much, but they're, well, anyone will tell you a wolf is not a dog, but they are canines, and so they do have dog-like behaviors, and so these big extra dog, wild dogs, have been with us humans since we can, you know, like go back and remember historically, not like, you know, not everyone can like go back and actually look at their past. So I'm talking about like academically, like we have knowledge of them. And so it's funny to me that we are so willing to demonize a being that is so much a part of our existence historically, like in antiquity. And so the hate and the fear that we have for them, and some of us want to have like just wolf eradication hunts. And every time I hear that some creature, particularly an endangered animal species, just people just want to wipe them out and are so angry at them, you know, like wolves killed my dog or dingo got my baby, you know. Part of life, these things happen, but we are the villain in the scenario, not the wolf. And they're just doing what they are instinctively born to do, and we, humanity, are not really allowing them to. We're infringing on their space, and then we demonize them and make them these terrible villains that they're not. We have to understand that we're moving in on their world. We have infringed on them all along. And also, everything that exists on this world, every being, every animal, species, plant, whatever it is, it's here for a reason. It holds the whole, it helps hold the whole of everything all together. Every species is an interlocking part in the Jenga of the earth puzzle. So if we are like eliminating species, animal species that are part of the ecological chains that are also holding stuff together, it's not good. Like, we should not be doing it. Stuff exists for a reason. We didn't put it here. And the people that do it, gun people got real mad at Obama for saying this, but they will clutch their religion and their guns. And these are the same people, like a Lauren Boebert, for example. I don't know how sincere her religion stuff is, but she wanted to just, like, fuck this certain species of fish. That's annoying that I have to accommodate them so that they can live. Let's just kill them all. Who cares? Chains and Jenga blocks holding things together, like biological chains, that if you take stuff away, it will have the potential to make stuff sick, and it could escalate across the species to where it's making the human sick. But we don't understand illness very well, I don't think, because we have made our planet supremely sick in certain areas, and not our fault. It's totally our fault. If there's like pollution or something messing up, the wolves didn't do it. We did that. So let me see what here the book says. I don't know why I keep doing that. Maybe I should see a doctor. If there's a doctor seeing this, you can say, like, maybe I need to see a doctor. Wolf. Guardian of family and tribe. Activism and ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. See, the wolf understands what to do with its existence. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching. religious or political studies. Now that just made me think of Native Americans, our indigenous people here. That's kind of what they're about, activism and mentorship about how to coexist with the planet and each other, because we are part of that whole equation. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. That's perfectly said. I'm not even going to add to it. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance out agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. Embrace all species. We need them all, even if you don't understand it or like it. Exclude none. You start excluding some, you're screwing with the natural order and messing things up. Don't do that. When in balance: reliable, democratic, fearless. When out of balance: judgmental, not even going to say anything, dominating. Look around. When in balance and when out of balance are rife in our world. To bring it to balance, practice letting go. Letting go of that judgment and dominating, the need to dominate. Yeah, like you got your own stuff to worry about, everybody. Why complicate your life by getting mixed up in someone else's stuff? And whale was the last card I pulled. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Earth, the wolf is the earth sign. Whale obviously is a water energy. And so, whale, desire to delve deeper, profound peace, ancient wisdom. The whale represents profound emotional health and stability. Whale personalities are not afraid of emotional expression or traversing difficult terrain, as they have overcome many challenges in their lives. Their experiences have enriched them, given them stability, strength, and a depth that is rare. Whale energy is usually linked to the feminine forces of compassion and communication. We can depend on whale personalities when all else seems lost, and trust them to be a beacon in our darkest hour. When in balance, calm, steady, deeply compassionate. When out of balance, heavy, slips into old story. To bring into balance, regular self-care. So I feel much the same about the whale as I do about the wolf. As you know, like I literally could just lay over everything I just said about the wolf onto the whale, except for obvious like earth to water differences. Both of these creatures have something in common, and that's their song. To me, they both kind of evoke a feeling of sadness, but that's probably misunderstood by my processing, my operating system. I don't think that any creature is always constantly in despair and just wailing. I mean, look at it like music from another country that sounds strange to you, but to them it's like the jam. You know, it's like, it's just a different space that we're not familiar with, like another language we don't know, because that's what it is basically. But I feel like the whale sings of encouragement and inclusivity, and like they were saying, like it's an ancient creature and it just doesn't see the world, like it's been through so much that it just doesn't see the world with the same eyes as one of us, like one life humans, or one life awareness, let's say. And it's, again, one of these creatures that the scientists always refer to as intelligent. Well, exactly what does that mean? You know, it's not a human, so it's not going to pick up a pen and start writing a book. And also, it has no fingers. It would be very hard to hold a stylus with flippers. Sorry. But, what is the intelligence, though? How do you quantify? I meant to say quantify the other day, and I said qualify, and then I couldn't remember where I put it, so I couldn't edit. I mean, I could have, but anyway, we don't really quantify what that intelligence looks like. How does that even relate to us? I think that may be the problem when we're not caring about them or their habitat. We're not really thinking about, like, what does this creature have to put up with when it's living alongside us beautiful humans. Both of these creatures have had their habitats all fucked up by human activity. There are lots of us that just want to go out and slaughter these things, like they're just targets for fun, for shooters, or these animals, like, we just indiscriminately dump our crap into their habitat. And when I say we, it's like, I don't want to do that, if you can't tell. Obviously, I'm like cutting up all of my pop, holder, those plastic ring things that, although I don't buy that stuff really now, and now it all comes in a cardboard box, so that's probably good for the habitat of the sea creatures. But these whales, not just this particular species, but every subspecies of whale and swimming creature in the ocean is being affected by our fishing nets, our garbage. This is old news, but we have no respect for what was already there when we come along. Like, I'm just going to accept blame with everyone else. I didn't go colonize or dump trash into their habitat. If I would have had control over that, I wouldn't have done it. I would hopefully have found a different place to put the garbage, or a different way to dispose of it, so that none of the creatures are affected by the garbage of human life. Every issue that we have has so many, like, outgoing issues sort of spiraling from it. Outgrowth, crazed, wild growth, crazed. Nothing is easy to just fix, but things wouldn't get out of control if we were kind of just paying attention to everything, because that is the way you get warnings of, like, inclement weather, or, well, that's a good enough example. If you can get a hurricane warning, it's a good thing, wouldn't you agree? But that's like an emergency situation. We shouldn't be waiting for things to turn into emergencies. And that is why we have such a problem with pollution and mental health, and the desire to, just eliminate our problems by shooting them to death, if the problems happen to be people. So that's all stuff we have to work on. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, I feel whole now. I did my homework from 2 days ago. Thank you for sharing it with me. Thank you, and good night. More later.